All right. Hello, all you beautiful, wonderful, amazing tea people. Today, we're going to go over some packaging from the recent tea show, and we're going to drink them. We are going to drink the teas from the recent tea show. And what are the teas that we are going to drink? The first one here. This is a Gui Fei Oolong. This is the first ever real Gui Fei that I've ever gotten on the site. And it's the first one that I would consider a Gui Fei. We'll talk about what makes a Gui Fei Oolong a Gui Fei Oolong. But it's bug bitten, right? It's bug bitten Oolong. But this is a Gui Fei Oolong from Shanlin Shi, so quite a high elevation. And it's nice. I like it. It's a good tea. I bought it. It's going to be on the site in a bit. Then the next one. This one here, you can see, is this canistery type of tea. And this is Cotton Candy Sweet High Mountain. And it's more expensive than the usual. It's more expensive than the usual sort of High Mountain blacks that I get usually. But it's like cotton candy sweet, a cotton candy fruit sweetness. And we'll get into that. This one here, you can see this one. We'll talk about this canister and this. I bought some of this. This is a greenish oolong, lower elevation, and it's organic. It's quite nice, and we'll get into it. We'll talk about this particular type of packaging, and then you've got the other type of packaging over here, which is this packaging here. This one is a black tea that has cinnamon notes, of all things, cinnamon notes. But those are the teas that we are going to be drinking right now. Now, I just got back yesterday from the tea show, from the tea fair, and it was an interesting trip this time because I did not drive. I took I don't know what the best way to call it, legacy train. I took the legacy train up to Taipei, and then I took the high speed train down to Taichung, and then I got on a bus, and I took the bus to Nantou, and then I took a taxi to the tea show. And so that's kind of an interesting sort of roundabout way of doing things. But that's what I did. And it was overall a really, really good time. I saw some friends. I did found some interesting new teas. And it was a bit of a whirlwind. I was there for 2 days, but it was worthwhile. It was worthwhile. And what's really nice about it is I actually found a replacement we'll get into that with another live stream. But I found just the most fascinating tea balls. Now, we'll get into this packaging in a second. As you can see, I'm just sort of opening it up. Now, generally speaking, I hate packaging. And I am the first to admit, I'm the first one to go in and say, okay, this is not something good, right? There should be a happy mix between beautiful packaging and beautiful tea. But my past and my role as a tea sourcer, if something is beautifully packaged, I'm going to throw away the package. I'm not going to deal with, if you've ever bought any of the tea, it's a minimal package, extraordinarily functional, extraordinarily minimal, and I send it out all over the world. All the packages go out all over the world, but they're not particularly beautiful, but they're efficient and they work well. But when you're looking at sort of just regular packaging, this is one of the most common things that you're going to see in Taiwan, right? So this is from the tea show. It's actually wrapped in plastic, like it's double wrapped. So you got to break off the plastic like this, right? And you take off the plastic packaging. And they didn't have a big bag of this tea. I just said, can you just give me a big bag of the tea, please? Like, can you just give me a big bag of it? And they're like, no, we don't have that. So if you want it right now, you got to get this. And then, so I'm like, okay, I'll buy, 600 grams of this. And so I got 8 of these packages. And as you've noticed, I've decided I don't really care if people see the sources of where I get the tea. If you're so gung ho that you're gonna like freeze frame and zoom in and find where these teas come from, go for it. I am. If you say where'd you get your tea, I'm not going to tell you where, but you can. I'm sick of trying to hide this stuff and in general the industry and the idiocy of the tea industry in general about things like that. Anyways, the point is, if you went to the tea show, you would have seen it anyways. So Look, see, watch here. Let's see if we can do like the sound of it. You ready? See? I mean, that's beautiful packaging. It's beautiful. You know, like you see, I didn't even the thing inside there, right? Like again, it's like you know the cow where you go moo. It's like that for adults, right? That's what it is. It's like moo moo. No for adults and people who like tea. But again, one more time, ready? So here's the packaging. Now, I talk about it and I'm like, you know, it's beautiful, but I don't want to be responsible for shipping this around the world. I don't want to be responsible for the one who has to, not only make this. Where does this go? This goes in the garbage, right? Unless you're going to stick it on the shelf. And there's nothing wrong with sticking it on the shelf. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's really tough for me, for the way I live my life and the way I do things, to take this and then ship it around the world. But I don't want to say this is my own personal style, right? I don't want to say that it's essentially wrong, right? I'm not claiming that it's essentially wrong to do it in a limited way. But that being said, I saw my buddy there, and it's so good. It's like so I don't know if you've had this stuff in the past. The high mountain black teas, the ones that are like sweet, fruity. Like this one has got the fruitiness to it, but it's got sweetness just on another level. It's just on another level, the sweetness. Literally like cotton candy sweetness. And this one is from sort of the same area as a lot of these teas are from, but it's from the sort of the Chile area, if I remember correctly. Anyways, I've got it all written down somewhere, so I apologize. It was a whirlwind, right? It was a whirlwind. It was an insanely whirlwind couple days. So I don't remember exactly where this is from. But anyways, there's this tea. And so it's quite expensive, quite an expensive tea. But if you get the subscription box, you're going to get it in your subscription box. And then you've got the sort of the Guifei here. Now, if you're getting a tea and the tea comes in just this package and just stacks of this package, right away you know it's going to be cheaper, right? If you can find a good tea with stacks of packages like this, then as a tea seller, sourcer like me, I'm going to be happy. And that's what this tea was. They were friends of friends. And I went to go visit them, and I tried their tea. And they have a tough job. They're right at the top of the Shanlinshi area, and so they actually have a pretty tough job. I'm going to wait a minute for the black teas here and reduce the temperature of this water a little bit before I jump into the black teas. And so they have a really tough time because in the Shanlinshi area, I've gone over this 100 times, but they just spray it. They just take a spray it with chemicals. You get that really chemically flavor with their teas, and they don't. And so they do it all. They're not fully organic, but they're ND. And so they're not certified organic. They're certified as not putting agrochemicals on their tea card. And so their tea is a little bit lighter, but that means that you get more bugs. And so you can get a tea like this for a decent price as well from Shanlinshi. And so that makes me happy. So again, what are the teas? We've got a Guifei, so a bug bit, and we'll get into what makes the Guifei and not a honey fragrance. Right there. Actually, I'm going to put this on here so I do not burn my pants, or my leg, I should say. Then we've got from Mingjian, an organic, sort of lighter greenish tea, and then two. I mean, both of these, I put hot water on them, and they're just like blasting me in the face with High Mountain sweet black tea-ness. When I'm doing this stuff and I'm talking about these teas and I get excited about describing them, I really should have them for sale first, shouldn't I? But again, not really much stuff. Not really my style. I don't know. Maybe I should do like the. No, I tried to do that before, but I don't think anybody appreciated my joke with the fad. Somebody bought tea during the sale, and I did the NPC meme. I think it's already gone. Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm rambling. Now, yeah, pretty nice. What's good and what's bad about the tea show? What's good about the tea show is an insanely high percentage of decent, good people, in this tea show, anyways, all together at the same time. So I walked around and I must have sampled, like a couple hundred at least different types of teas. And so I could sample them as I go. And, it's nice to see what the general sort of framework of the tea industries in Taiwan is doing. And right now, I was so happy. I was talking to one of my buddies about it. But in general, people are moving towards organic teas. The really heavy flavors, the really heavy stuff is kind of gone. And so when I would go to this this tea show in the past, I'd be drinking the teas. I'd get a headache. My stomach would hurt because 1 out of every 5 teas, I'd just be blasted with agrochemicals and nasty, nasty crap. It was bad. Like, it was bad. It was really, really bad. Last year was a little bit better, but this year I was blown away because I was walking through the tea show and people have stopped using the really horrible chemicals. They've stopped using them. And the teas were of the same quality or maybe even a little bit better than they were in the past. And it was great. It was great. It was absolutely great to see just a general move towards cleaner teas. It was wonderful. Is the tea show specifically for tea vendors to visit, or is it something for the general public? Oh, nothing here is specifically for tea farmers or tea vendors or things like that. And this one is not really tea vendors. It was tea farmers. I think the only way you could get a booth is if you were a farmer. Although there are some people that push that rule, obviously. But generally speaking, the only way you could get a booth is if you were a tea farmer. So it was the Tea Expo. And it was, you had to be sort of a respectable tea person to get in, right? You couldn't just there was no randos. You had to have a tea garden and you had to have been doing it for a while. So it wasn't just like random people, and it certainly wasn't just for the tea farmers / vendors or the people selling the tea. It wasn't just for them. It was the kids were there. They were doing all sorts of different shows, all sorts of different things going on. And so it wasn't just like that. But it's a good question. It's a very good question. It's more like a country fair, so a North American style country fair, like a harvest time. My family, my mother grew up in a small town called Melbourne, and there would be the Melbourne Fair at the end of the year. And then in the Melbourne Fair, they would have all of these, the best potatoes and the best pumpkins and the best squash and then the best apple pies and more like that, but at the top level of Taiwan, right? So the best of the best of the best. Like, for example, this one here, I got this one at the 100 best organic teas. And it's fun because I know all the organic tea farmers. And so when I go there, I go and I like drink the teas. And like this year, like there was 2 people actually took a picture with me. They're like, "Hey, you came all the way from Hawaii and like, here, let me take a picture. I want to show my wife that you came." And so there were 2 people that actually took a picture of me, and I'm like, "Yeah, I made it," But this one here, let's get into this one. This one here was actually a new addition, brand new spot. And I really enjoyed this tea. I really enjoyed it. But I don't remember all the details. But the reason I got it was so that I could get all the details of the person and remember it. And hopefully when I drink it again for the first time after having it once at the tea show, I still enjoy it. It's good. It's really good. I'm really happy to know that folks are moving away from using agrochemicals. My own father was a farmer, cranberries, and died of lymphoma directly connected to the use of Kaya. And I'm sorry to hear that. one of my favorite families and one of my favorite people is the Sanxia. They do the Sanxia black, green, and white teas. And he said, I had too many friends die from the chemicals they were spraying on their tea. And so I went organic. And that was his literal experience of that. And you can see it too. I mean, I'm pretty trained in being able to see it at this point, but the people who use organic stuff or they don't use the heavy chemicals, they look different. The farmers who do that, they look different. They have a different look, feel. They move around differently. They interact with the world just in a different way. So what this is just a nice, rich, low elevation green oolong. And it's called Qingxiang oolong. So Qingxiang would mean bright, light. That's Qingqin to Qing. So it's like it's got 100 different meanings. Anyways, but like a bright fragrance or a bright, sweet smelling fragrance or something like that would be the connotation of it. And it's really nice. Like this is really nice. And I didn't buy too much of it because I got to buy the wintertime stuff because teas like this, you don't buy the spring tea and then stick it on the shelf, right? You want to have it. I think this must be the springtime tea because it was in the competition. But you want to sell it out by the time it gets. You want to sort of sell out by the time it gets to the wintertime. One, it's better to drink in the spring times. And two, the freshness, why it makes it special, sort of, it's got a time frame on it. It dissipates. And this is really nice. I really like it. Okay, so there we go. That's good. I'm glad I bought some of this. I didn't buy very much. But it'll be going out with the subscription service as well. What's next? Okay, let's go to Gui Fei. So what is Gui Fei? Now, I would say, out of all the things that I'm an expert in, probably number one would be, in general Taiwanese teas. I've tried every single area of Taiwan, their teas. I understand Taiwanese teas really, 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 really well. If I was going to narrow it down, the second thing would be Camellia formosensis, which would be the Shancha, which would be the indigenous Taiwanese tea trees. I am an expert on that. And then number three, I would say bug bites. I'm an expert on bug bites. So bug bites on tea. Absolutely an expert on bug bites in tea. And if this was done in a different way, like if this was, it's a ball rolled oolong, but if they had done it in a different way, they could sell this very easily as the Eastern Beauty. Now, hey, Marco, how's it going? What are we looking at when we're looking at bug bitten teas? We're looking at green leaf hopper, sweet, honey fragrance. Let's see, how best to approach this. Okay, the most famous, of course, is Eastern Beauty. That is mid-oxidized, really lightly rolled. And then if you take sort of that same idea, you roll it tighter, you oxidize it a little bit more. So say the Eastern Beauty would be oxidized to about maybe, let's say 65. You go up to 70, 75, give or take, then you're getting into Gui Fei territory. Now, what is Gui Fei? Gui Fei, I think translates as concubine. Anyways, it's not done in most of the areas where I buy tea. And it's tea that's not quite good enough to be made into anything else. That's what it boils down to. It's not quite good enough to be made into an Eastern Beauty. It's not quite good enough to be made into a honey fragrance black. They don't want to make it into just a black tea or just an oolong tea because it's usually a little bit too rough, right? It's made in the summertime when the bugs are out. If it's got too many of the thrips, then you're getting a really bitter brew. If it's got just the right enough of the green leaf hoppers, then you're getting something nice. And so it's this tea that's sort of in between everything. And I'm sure out there's people who really know how to do it. And the people who really know how to do it can create a beautiful tea. I've seen very few of those, and they often go for extraordinary prices just because it's so rare. Most of the time, when you get to try the Guifei Oolong, you've got an oolong with about a 75% oxidization that's kind of starchy. There's a bug bite in it. They roast it, and that's what you get. And it's not something that I particularly enjoy because I'm so damn spoiled. I have access to really good teas, and I don't like the mediocre stuff. But this one is from a little bit higher up the mountain. So this is from about 1,600 meters above sea level. And I'll show you what color the leaves are so that you can sort of see what I'm talking about. Yes. Oh, there's a fart piper. I don't know if you guys heard that. But can you see sort of the color of the leaves here? Right? So yeah. Actually, you can see the color of the leaves pretty well there. So the color of the leaves, right? You're looking at this uneven, oxidized tea that's got the bug bites and also has some thrip bites. There's a little bit of an edge to it if you drink it too strong for too long, or you let it cool down. But it's affordable, and it's got the first time with the Guifei real feel to it. And what is the Guifei feel? Thick, full mouth feel, like an oolong, like a deep, dark oolong, not as light as the Eastern Beauty, but with a stronger fragrance. Like, boom, it's been bug bitten, boom, just like that. And that's what this has. And I was so happy to get it. I bought a bunch of it. I'll probably buy even more. And it's just richer, right? It's so hard to get a really a richly bug-bitten tea with the Eastern Beauties or the Honey Fragrance Blacks because you have to be so delicate. The pick has to be so delicate, right? Just the little tops. But with something like this, you're not getting just the little tops. You're getting you're getting an oolong pick, right? You're getting an oolong pick. Now, so what you're getting there is you're getting more strength and things like that. It usually doesn't work very well in the lower elevations, but with the higher elevations, here you can see what it looks like. With the higher elevations, you're getting softness as well. And so I'm happy to bring it in. The first ever Guifei Oolong. I'm happy to bring it in. I love a good Guifei. Combination of bug-bitten notes and roast is really good. Well, this is not roasted. Not roasted. Bug-bitten notes, smoothness, clearness. In the back end, again, if you brew it too long, you let it cool down. There's a little bit of thrip, right? There's a little bit of an edge to it in the back. But if you drink it light and hot, it's beautiful. Like really high quality, beautiful. I think some summer Dongdings have that profile though, but better. Yes, yeah. Right. So there are ones that you can get, so especially in Dongding if you get some of the lower oxidized ones. And I'm not knocking Guifei. I think there are some really good ones, but I'm also not in that area. So I don't go to the area where they're made very often. Right? I don't find them all that often. But this one I found at the tea fair. It's from Shanlinshi, right at the top of the mountain. So I'm happy to bring that in. Okay, so let's go and see this one. I took a little bit of a risk. I don't know whether it's a risk or not. But there was a black tea that gave me cinnamon notes, like really strong cinnamon. So much so that I went, did you guys add cinnamon to this? And they're like, no, it's got cinnamon notes though. And, it being the tea fair, I couldn't exactly go and check everything out, what the garden was like. But I bought it. And I bought it because I want to take it here and brew it just like I usually do. And I want to be able to see if I can actually pick out whether or not there's like cinnamon added to it. Because oftentimes with the high mountain blacks, you will get cinnamon notes, but they won't be this strong. And so I'm going to try this out, and we're going to see. And the price was pretty good, right about where it should be for a tea of this quality. A little bit lower actually, but they weren't fancy. It wasn't a fancy booth. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So isn't that interesting? It evened right out. After brewing it for this long, the cinnamon note is still there, but it evened right out. Now, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go into this and brew this a little bit. Isn't that interesting? So the cinnamon note is still there, but I've been going blah, 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 blah for so long that it's like evaporated off or burnt off. I don't know what the best way to describe it would be, but it's been like offed, aired off. I think fresh when it's hot. I'll have to drink this again, obviously, and see if I can pull it out a little bit better with sort of the Gong Fu method. I asked them if it was a Rogue. I asked them if it was a Rogue, the cultivar. And they're like, eh? No, it's just Xiaoye Oolong, like that. And so just like a chin chin. It's still there, but it's not as dramatic as it was at the show. Isn't that interesting? I'm almost thinking too, it's like, did they get me? Did they add a little bit of, did they get me? I don't think so. It's still there. There's the cinnamon that's still there, absolutely. But I think that fancy scientific word for flavors that I forget at the moment. What is it? Something oil, the reactive oil. I know the connotations of it. Forgive me. I should be sounding much more intelligent, but it is a live stream. Fake it till you make it, right? Anyways, whatever. The those cinnamon flavors have burnt off. They've evaporated, even though a lot of them are still there. Anyways, this is good tea for a good price, and I'm gonna play around with it to see the best way to pull out those cinnamon notes, and if I can pull them out as strongly as I could or they could at the tea show, then I'll buy a bunch of this tea and have it as a sort of a cinnamon black as well. Can't wait to buy from you again once I make the move, although shipping would be more expensive, I think. For me, yes, the shipping will be a little bit more expensive. For you, it will be the exact same price. And I hope you get over there soon. I guess it'll still be a couple months if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, no, the price will be the same. The price will be the same for shipping for you, but for me it'll be when I ship things in Asia, I'm like, yeah, extra sample for you, going to Singapore, extra sample for you, sort of a thing, because it is cheaper. Although I'm not complaining. Okay, let's get to the show winner, the winner of the show. The fancy black tea that's extremely expensive. But these types of black teas are just that expensive. When you get to this quality of black tea, it's just that expensive. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just that expensive. But I took their brochure and I took all the information, but I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember. I can't remember all the details. Natural tea. Yeah. Buja, yeah. And this is sort of just like a generic Taiwanese tea. All teas are beautiful type thing. Best teas are made in Taiwan. I wish they'd hire me, right? The world's best teas. Taiwan, the world's best teas. But anyways, Smells like cotton candy. Straight up cotton candy. Let's see how it goes with the what is it? The 30-minute brew time. So sitting in hot water for 30 minutes. Let's see what happens. Over here, it destroyed the cinnamon flavors. Let's see what happens with this one. It just made it to be a face blast of high quality, extraordinarily rare flavors that you would only get in like the most expensive little tiny tip teas. Why am I not remembering the names? Well, because I don't drink Taiwanese or Chinese teas, but the red, not the red robe. Anyways, the one that's just the little tiny tips, the black tea that's just the little tiny tips. You only get those flavors from those and from High Mountain black teas. And it's not even so much about the like it's just that sweet, fruity. I mean, if let's put it this way, these teas are ginger May. Yes, there it is. There you go. Thank you for reminding me. That's exactly what it is. But you're looking at this blast of sweet fruit malt. This is not bug bitten. There might be a little bit of bug bit bites in it. It's just the sweet spot. The temperature was right when they made it. The just like that. 13 days. Okay, right on. And so the temperature was just right. The elevation was just right. The pick was just right. Everything was just perfect to be able to pull off this tea. And what was I going to say? If the Queen of England, Queen Victoria, had this tea first, then the Eastern Beauty teas, whatever. They'd be like, oh yeah, they're okay. But I mean, this style of tea is just, it's just such a burst. This is one of the best I've ever had. This is one of the best I've ever had. And it's expensive, but it's worth every penny. It's worth every single penny. Now, when I go to the fall tea show, I might be able to find some that isn't quite as expensive. There's no way well, maybe, who knows? I won't say never, but it'll be very, very hard for it to be this good. But it's cotton candy, like, and I hesitate to say hot cotton candy because probably, I bet you people are like, people have bad connotations for cotton candy. I don't want a cotton candy, none of that. It's great. It's like all the good parts of cotton candy, I guess. I was half asleep as I wrote that, but I gotta catch you live. Dude, I'm always happily surprised that people watch these. But yes, thank you for watching. And it's on YouTube, and it's on Instagram, and it's on Facebook, so you can watch back. You can go to sleep. There's nothing special going on, just me talking about some interesting teas that will be in next month's subscription box. And I will also. Oh, really? Isn't that interesting? Maybe that's why it's so good. Usually when they make these teas, they make these teas in August. But it looks like this one was actually made in the 6th month, which is June. It was actually made in June. Anyways, there we go. So there's the teas. Now, just to recap, I sort of talked a little bit about the packaging. Right, so we did the fancy packaging, the moo for adults, right? So you can see here, right? Right, so it's nice. It's pretty good, right? And so when you see the packages like this, and then there was this one here, which is the metal, and this is the old style of the so the metal canisters, like a smaller old style version of it. And also too, you can see here there was the organic sticker. And so what I did was I went like this, and you break the organic sticker, and then you open it up like this, right? So it's great packaging, really. It's great packaging. And I don't know if anybody has strong feelings about how I do packaging, then let me know. I mean, I can't justify sending this all the way around the world. I just can't justify it. Anyways, that's my own style, my own way of doing things. Anyways, we talked about that at the beginning. I self-flagellated at the beginning. But the packaging was quite nice. But usually when I buy teas at a tea show, they come in packages like this. They usually come in packages like that. Just because I'm like you guys can use this. I'm just gonna take it home and throw it away. You guys, come on, keep it. Sell it to the people that only buy like 200 grams from you. I'm buying kilograms. But anyways, and to recap the teas, really bright and floral, beautiful sort of low elevation, sparkly bright and floral greenish oolong. Again, all these teas will be going in into the next month's subscription box. Nice. And the more I drink this, I'm like, did I buy tea from them in the past? Because this is so familiar. It's so familiar. It's quite interesting how familiar this tea is. But it's a way of making sort of organic teas really bright and strong. So just an overall really nice tea. Then there's Gui Fei over here, the Concubine Oolong, bug bitten, strength, strong, wide flavors, nice and big. I do not recommend overbrewing it, and I do not recommend letting it cool down too much. There are some thrift bites in there, so there's a little bit of bitterness in the background. If you let it steep too long or you let it cool down too much. But that being said, if you just brew it normally hot, it's awesome. It's so good. Fruity flavors, wide breadth, depth, strength, just it's good. Rank that blank against Chilai Black and Snow Mist. Hey, there we go. Great. Great. Okay, it's better than Chilai Black. Okay, so this tea is better than Chilai Black. Sorry I didn't see that earlier. Better than Chilai Black, but Snow Mist Black is on a different level because it's done in a way like this is trying to pull out the sweet flavors and give you a flavor blast. That's what it's trying to do. Whereas Snow Mist is not trying to do anything other than create the best possible tea from the terroir and from the leaves. And so it's just a different level, right? It doesn't care if it's sweet, right? Some people get like green tea notes out of that black tea. It's a complex, deeply fascinating tea. But this is better than Snow Mist. Or sorry, not better than Snow Mist. Snow Mist is something different. This is better than Chilai. It's better than Chilai. It's got less fruit, but more sweetness, more of a candy, less of an edge, more, it's all round and all of that. So it's something special. Do you see anything surprising at the expo or any interesting cultivars on display? Or unorthodox processing like Sancha Black? Nice selection you picked out. Well, okay. I'll reward you for staying up by giving you showing you just quickly what I did. And so here it is. I wasn't going to do it on this live stream because I'm not going to drink them right now, but I'll just show you what I got. There's a guy, and what's the story? Well, there's a guy on Alishan. Okay, here it is, right here. These guys. There's a guy on Alishan, and the story is about 60 years ago, he found that there was a bunch of teas that had grown by seed in this back area of his farm. And then as they grew up, he realized, holy crap, these tea plants that grew up from seed are Camellia formosensis. Sort of. Because remember, the camellia plant when that bee goes in for its hot and heavy and goes in and creates this new plant, it's like apples in the sense that you never know what seed it's going to get, right? The birds and the bees. It goes in there and you have no idea what the seed will create. And what it created was these are technically Camellia formosensis, I guess. Nobody's gone up to study them as far as I know yet. But they are Camellia formosensis plants, and but they have enough DNA in them to shoot out traditional Chin Oolong florals. And so what you're getting, like I got two different kinds. One is like a green version, almost like a green tea, almost like a Sheng, but not a Sheng. And then there's in this version, which is I'm not going to be able to get, unfortunately, due to, well, I'm not going to say anything bad. I'm not going to be able to get any Camellia formosensis stuff from the same guy in Liuegui anymore. It's just too much for me. I can't handle the bullshit anymore. Anyways, but I found the replacement, which is this. This is the replacement, right? So this is actually what I'll save it. I'll do it tomorrow, or maybe around the same time, noonish, my time. But this is same processing style, but using a tea that is the DNA of this is I get it all the time because it's a Chinese word for what my kids are, hunshui, which means like mixed blood, but mixed blood tea. And so when I'm drinking it, I'm like, what the hell is this? Because it was in the Camellia formosensis pavilion. And I drank it. And I was like, what is this? I'm like, this is weird. And then they're like, oh, and they start telling me about it. And I said, can you give me the leaves? So they started pulling out the leaves, and the leaves are long like this. And most of them just look like Camellia formosensis leaves. I was like, oh, okay. And then I pulled out one. I was like, what the hell is this? And it was a long formosensis leaf, but on the outsides, it had the sharp edges of a Chin or a Jinshan type of like traditional Taiwanese tea. And I looked at the leaf and I was like, whoa, what is this? Right? I'd never seen a leaf like it before. And so each one of these tea trees are different. And so that's what this is. In my notes, I ranked Snow Mist slightly above the Chilai Black, like 2.5, 0.2.5 difference, but I'm sold if it's better than Chilai. It screams what it does. This tea screams, I am a rich, fruity, sweet, high mountain black tea of extremely high quality. And so that's what this thing screams. It screams it. And it doesn't do much else, but it's like, like if that's what you like, then there it is. Anyways, so that's the thing that thank you for the question, Cam. Tomorrow I'll go into it and do a sort of a deep dive into this tea, and drink the two different versions of it. But that's how it's sold, and it's like 300. I think it's 300 grams. I hope it's 300 grams, because that'll make my life easier. It's not. It's 200 grams. Damn. That makes my life a lot harder, actually, pricing this out because it's pretty expensive. But it's this really interesting tea. I can probably break them in half and still be able to sell them. But they're pretty expensive. They're pretty expensive, as you can imagine, because they're such a unique tea. But yeah, so I'll break them out and we'll talk about these teas tomorrow. But they're the sort of the replacement for the Camellia formosensis stuff. So this one now cooled out, brewed to its extremes. The cinnamon note is coming back, which is nice. And then this one over here, Isn't that interesting? A little bit of caramel notes, a little bit of caramel flavors. And because this tea is not supposed to be brewed the way I just brewed it and left it to sit the way I just sit it, there is a little bit of a thing in the background there. No. It's very, very subtle, but a little bit of greenness. There's a little bit of greenness in there as well. Damn. Oh, that's okay. I got to rework my math, but it's beautiful tea. It's amazingly beautiful tea. And I know that if I buy more of it, I'll probably be able to get a cheaper price. So there we go. That's it for now. No more Gushu formosensis. No, probably not. No, probably not. Maybe in the future, if I can find a good person who does it, but not from the same source. It got to the point of absolute insanity, and I don't mean that in a accusatory way. It's just I'm sure it's not just me. Let's put it that way. I'm sure it's not just me. Anyways, that's it for now. I've got to go and ship out all the tea to all the people who have bought tea. So everybody, thank you as always so much for people that have bought tea. Any other questions about this stuff? Let me know. I'll be doing some more sort of fun stuff with these things tomorrow. And yeah, if you have any other questions about this, let me know. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you have an amazing night, evening, morning, afternoon. Thanks for watching, and you can go to sleep now. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next live stream.